Hi everyone, welcome to 40K on Point, the channel that quantify Warhammer 40K. This video describes the transport for the Space Marine using our predefined methodology. If you want to know more about the metrics that are used in this video, please follow the link in the description. The units that will be analyzed in this video are the Drop Pod, Impulsor, Land Speeder Storm, Razorback, and the Rhino. The first unit to be analyzed is the Drop Pod. So for 70 points, you are getting one model armed with a Stormbolter, and the unit do not has a lot of firepower options. It doesn't have any movement, nor does it have any attacks, melee attacks or weapon skill. For 70 points, you get 8 wounds of toughness 6 and a save 3+. The unit can transport 10 infantry models, but not all of them, just no Jump Pack, Terminator, Primaris, Wolfen, or Centurion. It has the Drop Pod Assault, which essentially gives deep strike to units that would not have that rule otherwise. While the Drop Pod may have a lot of interesting tactical possibilities, when it comes to the metrics measure the relation between offensive potential and defensive cost. And in that relation, the Drop Pod is not very good because it doesn't have a lot of firepower. Its defensive cost is very low, but it has almost no offensive output. So even with the mobility element, it's a multiplier, so it has very little impact. So the Drop Pod did not perform well in our metrics. That being said, the Drop Pod can be useful for some lists as it acts as a force multiplier to other units. Next we have the Impulsor. So for 125 points, you are getting one model armed with 2 Stormbolter, Iron Ale Heavy Stubber, and Iron Ale Sky Talon Array. So that gives a lot of anti-personal shooting capacity. Also for 125 points, you are getting 11 wounds of toughness 7 and a save 3+. The unit has a 14-inch of movement, and it has in melee it's pretty poor with 3 attack, strength 7, and weapon skill 6+. Also, the unit is able to transport 6 Primaris infantry, and it has assault vehicle, so it allows to disembark unit even if it has moved. So overall, the Impulsor performed well, very well in our metrics, reaching a score of 143%. The unit is having a pretty decent anti-personal shooting capacity, and it has a very good mobility thanks to its movement and its ability to transport 12 wounds of unit. And so overall the mobility score is quite good, and per point its defensive cost is pretty low. So because the unit has a good defense and good mobility, it doesn't have to get a lot of firepower to have its to get its point, and that's for that reason the damage output of that unit is a bit higher than its defensive cost, so that makes a unit definitely that is worth its point. Next we have the Land Speeder Storm. So for 55 points you are getting one model armed with the Cerberus launcher and the Heavy Bolter. The Cerberus launcher is a heavy D6, strength 4 blast weapon. The unit is very fast, having an 18-inch of movement, and it has the fly keyword. And the unit also is having for a vehicle 2 attacks of weapon skill 3+, strength 4. But it's unusual to have a weapon skill 3+ for a vehicle. And the unit defensively, for 55 points, you are getting 7 wounds, toughness 6, with a save 4 plus. It has the open top, which allows a scout to shoot with when they are within land speeder storm, and it also has the assault vehicle rule. The unit can transport 5 scout infantry. That unit performed extremely well in our metrics, reaching an overall value of 200%, thanks to its very low defensive cost, also its huge mobility coming from its speed, fly keyword, and its ability to transport 5 wounds in open top. So, and it has, because it has a few attacks, has a little bit of damage in melee, even if it's not good. It is adding to the total, and it is a dedicated anti-personal shooting unit that per point is it's good against anti-personal, and it is also okay per point at shooting against tanks. So per point, it is a very, very interesting unit, and I think it will be there will be a very interesting competitive use of that unit. Next, we have the Razorback. So for 120 points, you are getting one model armed with a twin las cannon. And so the las cannon has two heavy 2, strength 9, AP -3, and damage D6 for 48 inch of range. The model is having 12 inch of movement and pretty weak melee at 3 attacks of strength 6 and a weapon skill 6 plus. And for 120 points, you are getting 10 wounds of toughness 7 and a save 3 plus. The unit can transport 6 infantry model, but not jump pack terminator, primaris, or centurion model. So it gives 12 wounds of transport. The Razorback performed well in our metrics, reaching an overall score of 110%. So it is a dedicated anti-tank shooting platform, but doesn't have any other, does not perform well in the other aspect of offensive output. But because it has a good mobility and its defensive cost is low, it makes a unit that is a bit more than worth its point. Next, we have the Rhino. So for 85 points, you are getting one model armed with 2 Storm Bolter, and the unit has a 12 inch of movement. It has defensively for 80 points, you are getting 10 wounds, toughness 7, and a save 3 plus. It can transport 10 infantry model, but not jump pack terminator, primaris, or centurion. So overall 20 wounds that it can transport. Overall, the Rhino performed okay in our matrix, reaching an overall value of 96%. Even if it doesn't have a lot of damage output, a bit of anti-personal shooting, it has a super strong mobility and an exceptional fortitude, so its defensive cost is extremely low, so it doesn't take a lot of firepower to make that unit worth its point. So there are a lot of interesting choice in the transport option for the Space Marine. They don't have a lot of damage output, but they're very mobile and a very solid unit that are able to withstand a lot of damage. One unit that appears to be exceptional is the Land Speeder Storm, which I think will be used in competition, not necessarily to take damage, but to take and hold objectives. It is a very mobile unit and very solid unit, 7 wounds. And also you have the Impulsor that is interesting for the primaris. That being said, because now the normal Space Marine are having 2 wounds, it did increase the mobility of almost all the transport except the land speeder, because the amount of wounds that can be transported in in the transport is considered in the mobility element. So all the mobility was boosted with the new rules of having a 2-wound Space Marine. This video described the transport for the Space Marine using our normalized metrics. Please feel free to comment on how to increase the efficiency of those units. And also check my other video. It can help you assess the capabilities of your opponent when you play against them. Please subscribe also if you like this kind of content. I will upload all the units of 40K using exactly the same method. Thank you for watching. Over and out.